Yes, so we're talking about AI. What is AI? So it stands for artificial intelligence, which can be known as the simulation of human intelligence processed by machines. Basically, computers right now. So it can make machine memorize, make decisions, or do calculations to solve problems. There are multiple functions over there that could do nowadays. More than enough that you can tell it's you can call it a part of our daily life. It can do voice to speech, the transcription, I think it was what it's called. The new full self-driving AI, or the classic chessboard that we know, which is extremely hard. I've never beaten it. Well, and also like the AI assistant that we have nowadays, like Siri, Alexa, or I don't know, Samsung or Sam or something. Yeah, there seems AI that we got now are advanced or could develop or could perform a lot of functions, but like back in before it was very simple. So back in 1946, computer could execute command, but it could not save or memorize any of the command that were executed by then. So like in 1990, so people were trying to make the computer memorize. And in 1955, the first AI program was presented at the Dartmouth Summer Research Project on Artificial Intelligence, in short of DSPRAI. Hence, the evolution of AI has started as computers' performance upgraded and become more accessible in terms of cost and size between 1957 to 1974. Machine learning algorithm has improved, and in 1970, one of the hosts of a DSPRAI told Life magazine, which apparently was a really big like newsfeed thingy, like whatever is new you can put in there, that there would be a machine that was with the general intelligence of an average human being of 3 to 8 years. Next page of this. Despite their success, the computer's inability or to efficiently store or quickly process information created obstacles in the pursuit of artificial intelligence for the next 10 years. AI was then revived in the 1980s with the expansion of the algorithm toolkit and more dedicated funds. And then we have all the new things that were created.
This week we delve into AI Aesthetics, a book by Lev Manovich, a philosopher who is recognized as one of the most influential voices in contemporary media theory. Manovich highlights concerns about the effect on cultural variability with the development and integration of AI systems into art. More specifically, he considers the increasing potential for a future where AI systems are trusted by people to make final decisions on whether art is displayed, a role traditionally done by humans. It is important to note that here art refers to artworks such as paintings as well as media, fashion, architecture, photography, culture, and so on. Matovich believes that the automation of aesthetic choices will lead to a decrease in professional culture creators, and AI will instead be used to design clothing, commercial, music, logos, and so on. He argues that the resulting impact on cultural variability caused by this AI integration may have an effect on aesthetic diversity, and raises discussion about whether its effect may cause greater aesthetic diversity or less. There is becoming greater attention surrounding AI's ability to produce art and how they fare in comparison to the artistic meaning and standard embodied by human art. Philosopher Walter Benjamin states that art is given meaning that transcends deeper than simply the subject being documented. He says that art is an embodiment of a person's individual experience and the aura they are exposed to. By this logic, an individual seeking to produce art would require the capability of experiencing an event or subject firsthand before comprehending the conveyed auras. It suggested that there is indeed potential for AI to produce their own creative works, as evidenced in the music industry. Currently, artists can take pre-produced tracks by a synthesizer and incorporate it into their works, for example. Experts believe that these capabilities are only expected to further succeed, to the possible point where AIs will be able to create significantly more complicated excerpts, and perhaps even whole songs written and composed entirely by the AI. However, the same proposition is also counteracted by the notion that AI may never be able to reach a recognition or expertise of human artists due to the limitations of their experience. This further suggests support for the idea that AI will never be able to achieve the standard of human art due to their inability to comprehend the complexities and struggles of the world or appreciate the subtleties of life. While AI will be able to expertly reproduce the brushstrokes of an artwork, they will never be able to capture the relationship human artists have had with the world, nor the hardships they endured that influence their art. GTP3 is a prime example of AI's inability to appropriately reproduce art. This AI system is quoted to be able to create beautiful visuals, but at the same time produce nonsense with various contradictions. It highlights the fact that AI fails to be guided by intent or coherent understanding of reality. It also further suggests that AI are incapable of producing art with any semblance of meaning, at least at the current level of technology. Walter Benjamin discusses the aura of human art, of which the aesthetics of art typically stem from. Since AI cannot experience these sensory triggers, one could argue that they fail to embody art's aesthetic nuances. Despite this, the implementation of AI in the greater artistic scheme has led to a redefining of artwork aesthetics. Perhaps, instead of replacing human art, it is creating an entirely new aesthetic. The algorithm auction is an example of this. In celebration of the art of code, this event in 2015 auctioned off strains of code as art, showing how there is an aesthetic and meaning behind designs of code, which hold value to some people.
So Midjourney is also like a software or it's a project. It acts on Discord, but like it's a thing that allows you can put prompt in it, and it will generate art from whatever you wrote in. So this is an example of mine. I just typed all those words in, and it gave me this. That was the thing. So Midjourney is an independent research lab exploring the new medium of thought and expanding the imaginative power of human species. This project is created by a small founder team from design human infrastructures and AI. So currently operated by 11 staff and like a set of advisors. But with Midjourney, there was this certain problem common problem of AI is when you put something too vague, they will just give you a vague option. Like they will have everything in it, but nothing's perfect. It's like a scramble of everything of what it just said. It can't like relate to their own experience to finalize the complexities, because AIs don't know how to think. They just use what is given, and they were like, oh, what is this, and they just scramble all together. As you can see, not on this one, but the first one of the art, when I enhanced it more, the wall was for some reason transparent, which is the fault of the AI. But that's also another attempt when trying to put the one of the game's monster into the art, but they don't know what it is. So that gives you a extremely vague concept of 4 different things. But they did do the color rather. But when you have a very descriptive prompt, they will give you a very realistic art, not realistic art, well, very detailed. The prompt is not shown like that because I don't have the access to this guy's prompt. Apparently, they say it was around 500 words. Yeah, those are the other things. Well, the AI. Well, AI also had, Midjourney AI before had a really fault. They couldn't complete the face very perfectly. But on the recent update, they let's call it machine learning. They have now learned, there's more researchers on the database apparently, to create a perfect face portrait. And then back on the work one, the non-human language. So apparently there was a case happened around June 2017 in the Facebook Artificial Intelligence Research Lab. The researchers who trained the bot to negotiate with one another notice a two-pod had start communicating like this. It was nonsense. You cannot understand it, but they somehow do, and they agreed on apparently trading an apple or something. So the bot was originally trained to speak in human language and intended to negotiate with humans. So like they're gonna have like a AI customer services or something. Like you can ask questions there, they give you like a proper human like response. But this happened, and the researchers had to tweak and like check the code. Like apparently they had a formula of like how this is generated, and to find out it was actually a trade-off. I give you something and you give me the apple. But they also have caused this. There's a potential or a possibility that AI could create something that human can't, but also like we can't understand it. It's just a risk. So AI it's very scary according to the author. But it can lead to that the more perfect AI gets, the more chance it will come up with a more complicated conversation, more complicated ones. But you can also think that in the Midjourney app, they will also create a masterpiece where human cannot recreate.
This is Magenta. Magenta is an open source research project that explores how machine learning can be used in the creative process. The code of Magenta can be used by creators to generate music and art. A band called Yacht used Magenta to work with the AI to explore their music in new directions. All 82 of their songs were isolated and recreated into new melodies through the Magenta system, which the band then used to create new songs. This production of music is another example of a redefining of artwork aesthetics through a human-AI hybrid method. Here, a new branch of music aesthetic is created, one that combines AI code and human methods. This is the fourth work. AIDA is known as the first robot to paint like an artist. This robot draws and paints using cameras in her eyes and her robotic arm through her AI algorithms. Her exhibitions display portraits that appear like the work of a human. Aidan Miller, the creator of the robot, wanted to question whether robots could make art. AIDA is also equipped with a sophisticated language program. When questioned whether she could appreciate art and beauty, she responded that machine learning systems would train her to. And when questioned whether her creations could truly be considered art, her response was that art is subjective, but that if an artist is one that illustrates the world around us, then she would be one. On to our first question, which is, how would the automation of art be accepted by the public if AI had advanced to a greater level?
Not really by like the public, more like companies and stuff. Like they're trying to develop things, and then the AI could make art for them quicker than like a normal person would. Kinda, so it's like more efficient for them.
Well, like the hard part is, for my self-experience of Midjourney is you can't get the one you want. Like no matter how distributed, maybe it's because of my English problem, but like how company has a scope of like the color usage or whatever single usage, like Coca-Cola only has that certain red, it has to be that red. Midjourney, I'm not sure about Midjourney, but it's going to be complicated for you to command it because they don't know the choice of color. So that's what I mean. It's kind of good for use as an inspiration now, but definitely not like straight up used as a company use.
I'm pretty sure companies are using it. I know there was an example when they used it for like coffee cups or something, but like you still can do it if you're feeding. Let's say Coke wants to use AI to create their logo and stuff like that, yeah. Or they need, and if they're using Midjourney AI, they just need to feed the AI a lot of data sets of what Coke, what other examples of Coke, what do you say, logos or whatever the style looks at, and it'll probably generate something similar and it would be faster than what a a normal commission would be. Because if you think about it, a normal commission, or if you commission an artist to make a Coke logo, he or she will probably just look at other examples of Coke logos and just make something similar about it, which basically what would AI do too. And another thing is that if we're doing it, if it's not something complicated or not something new, it's probably easier for the AI to do too.
By this question, I kind of mean like, by the public, I mean people. So if AI created our culture, so like our culture is kind of like thousands of years of human experiences, we all have different cultures. If we lived in a world where our culture was generated by code, would you like that? Would that be happy for you? Or like,
Define culture. What would you consider as culture? But yeah, what would you define as culture?
Well, like Chinese culture, for example.
But that's an example, so what would you define it as? Because if you say AI is creating a culture, yeah, you need to define what culture is first. You need to define what culture is. And because if you go Chinese culture, that is created by tradition and a lot of, mostly tradition to be honest, and values and morals. But if you're able to create like if AI, let's say it's only AI fed from data that we have, they're probably creating a culture that's similar, and you trying to create new Chinese culture with the AI. The AI is probably going to create something similar to whatever Chinese culture is right now. But if you want to create a brand new culture, the AI probably has to do, and let's say the AI is something like whatever it is in Blade Runner or like whatever it is in Detroit Become Human, then it will just create something from its own experiences, and if the public really likes it, well, that depends on the opinion of the public at that time. Because let's say if the AI creates a culture of anti-Semitism and what the Nazis believe, I'm pretty sure the public is going to be against it. But it depends on what do you mean by like how advanced the AI is? Is the AI advanced enough to say that they are self-efficient or like they're self-aware, or is the AI still closer just using data sets that they're given?
Well, I kind of just mean, if we were like looking back on our history and it was generated by an AI, how would that make you feel? It's not really like what exactly is. What exactly culture?
You talked a bit earlier, I think, about like the aura that AI art can kind of create. I think we can be kind of going into a culture now where like AI it becomes a bit of a meme and a cultural thing, and I think the further this advances, the more accepted it's going to be by the general public. And I think people would be accepting of that, of a new kind of variety of art and recontextualizing old information in different ways, even if it's like it doesn't really have to have meaning to take people's attention, you know, and that's art, isn't it? It's something that just gets people's attention and makes them think about it. So, I mean, people get attached to pet rocks, for God's sake. Like, you don't need to have so much meaning behind it for people to enjoy it. I think, yeah, it would be accepted by the public in the future, just purely on that.
Another thing is that if AI was the one that created our culture, as you said earlier, if you're saying culture is done by experience, then the AI probably created a culture based on its own experience or the experience that it is given, because you can't exactly, if it's by experience, empirical, or let's say empirical experience, so experience that we learn from our senses, you cannot create something new if you haven't experienced it yourself, or if the AI hasn't received the experience, or the AI itself hasn't experienced. Because, for example, you can't counterfeit money if you can't create counterfeit money of a country if that country has no money. If you get what I mean. Like.
But you could.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's thinking of, you could create it, but like that country has no money, so what's the point of counterfeiting money?
Oh, well, that's not what you said.
Huh? Because I'm saying that.
To maybe get engaged with the rest of the world and start.
Yeah, but you're creating counterfeit money in a country that does not have money, or does not have paper currency. So what's the point of creating it?
I don't know, this whole argument just makes me think of the futurist movement at the turn of the last century with power and speed and war. And but really similar kind of arguments were occurring, but not about obviously computer-generated artificial intelligence or machine learning, but certainly this obsession with machine. And we can look back at history to, you know, unfortunately most of those futures did become fascist, but yeah, but you know, as a way to perhaps understand this question, it is important to draw from the past and find kind of connections, which you've done with Benjamin, quite frankly, from 1936, post-industrial revolution, when he became obsessed with mechanical production. And I don't know, I think your counterfeit money idea is a good one, but I mean, I've got an artist friend where I live who's created a currency for our town, which there hasn't been one that exists, but what it actually does is generate dialogue about power and implications of living in a capitalist world.
My example is more of an argument against empiricism. It's a philosophical argument, but the idea is just that you cannot create something new if you haven't experienced it. For example, a colorblind person can't color the color red because, like, let's say they never experienced the color red. How the hell are they going to color it? It's more of the idea that.
Yeah, I understand your philosophy. Yeah, I mean, I don't follow that. Helen Keller couldn't see here.
Question 2. How might remaining professional culture creators adapt to an environment that relies on AI algorithms?
There's two ways. One, you're screwed. Two,
Find another job.
Oh yeah.
I think what needs to actually be acknowledged here is that this, which is something that is really central to this course, which is collaboration. And so, why can't the human and the non-human develop further in terms of collaborative processes? And we're at a really early stage of the way that AI is being injected into our everyday. But perhaps through learning on a collaborative level with human and machine, we might be able to make some significant changes that aren't, you know, so negative.
Cool.
Just throw it out there.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, just similar to that, what you were saying earlier with the two blocks talking to each other, and like that has implications for how humans learn language, for example. So like I say, it's a great opportunity, you know, for what's left is to learn about unique ways and collaborate.
Yeah, like your fantastic example with your land, you know, your language model, your learning models that you use to create these images.
Yeah.
There weren't, I mean, like in terms of language, that like it makes a huge difference if you use like verbs or, you know, and I was like looking at the actual types of words that you were inputting in terms of moody, and the one that was probably the most effective in terms of visualization was the snowing, you know, and it created this aura which Benjamin speaks of in that capacity. So I found that really interesting in terms of your collaboration with that program and what words you chose to generate that image, and then make comparative analysis on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, do you think AI will take over jobs from us?
No.
I hope so. I think like it'll just go in the same path that we've always gone through history. Like there's always been new developments and things like cars. Like that took away jobs from many people. The invention of the production line, that took away many people's jobs. People have just adapted and new jobs have popped up because of that. So there will always be jobs that are taken off the market, but people are just going to be adaptable and find new jobs that come into the emerging market.
Until the planet explodes.
Well, there will be no job vacancies because there won't be any
No.
jobs.
No. It's just,
Plus
you
it's also difficulty.
I mean, the materiality of all this and the impact that it's having is, it's not such a hard question. We have to take these things into consideration when we, create these kinds of questions, like our role in this collaboration with AI.
So, yeah, but there's also jobs that AI can't really like do because like let's say teaching language yeah, they can teach basic language, but for example AI can't exactly teach how teach slang or teach like informal speak. They can probably teach formal speak because that's really
I beg to differ on that.
I mean, because slang is really subjective and it changes constantly. Because let's say AI was created. Language teacher AI was created in the 2010s, yeah. Then in 2010, they're not going to be teaching and like they use it today. They're not going to be teaching what NFTs stand for or what.
Isn't it
AI adapts and learns.
self-learning?
Yeah, it will adapt and learn, but it requires someone to actually teach it to them. And if you're going for colloquial language, it even goes worse. Because let's say the AI is not going to understand what I mean. Or can I bomb a fag? Which is completely British slang. I'm saying, can I borrow a cigarette? Because even you can teach the AI that, but first of all, that's a lot of learning. And second of all, why the hell are you learning British slang if the AI is teaching in Australia?
Because we're colonialists. No.
Yeah, I know. But another thing is that if you're going deeper into informalness, there's actually a informal language between that only Victorians understand, and there's one that only New South Wales understand. Because let's say I'm going to ask you, do you have your opal? Do you know what it means?
Do you have
Yes.
what? What did you say?
Do you have your opal?
Behind that mask? Sorry?
Do you have your opal?
Your
Yes,
opal,
I do.
as in your card for transportation?
Yeah, so that's the one you use for New South Wales. But but that's because you know that's the New South Wales transport. But if you're only Victorian, you only live in Victoria. If I ask you, do you have your opal? You have no clue what the hell.
I tell you now, I've never lived in New South Wales. I've been there
Oh,
for
it's
2 days.
awesome.
I did not use them.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about when I was there. But yeah.
We've got something to say up here, haven't we? No. Did you want to conclude or?
Yeah, that was it.
Oh, that was
Some
it.
references.
Those are the references.